family. Welcome to another episode of Small Business Sundays, an edition of the DB podcast. Great and more than happy to have my brother here, Okheem. Okheem, he's been doing his thing, writing poetry. He's starting his own poetry, career, and he's recently actually come out with a new poetry book right here. You see me? Not the album, the interlude, by the one and only Okheem. So if you wanna, start reading up on some poetry, you better go and grab that. But definitely, Okheem, thanks for coming out, man.
No doubt, thank you for having me, bro.
Definitely. So, first thing we're gonna, just jump into right off the top of the bat is, in terms of your passion for poetry, because I know you've always been, an articulate person, and you always had a deeper meaning in a lot of the things that the way you talk and the way you do things. You know what I mean? So, it's not a surprise that I see you go into poetry. My question to you is why? What makes you passionate about it?
To simply put it, poetry is taking everything that's inside of you and putting it on paper. The way that poetry comes out, the way those words come out, that's, it's unique. It's from you, so that's where poetry is just this vast and amazing thing that you could get into. I started because growing up, I just been in certain situations that, it was rough as a child to go through.
100%.
And being of Caribbean descent, it's not easy to always speak to your parents, right? Being a Caribbean household.
I feel like it's an immigrant thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Very true too. You're meant to be strong, tough. Especially as a male. So poetry was my way to just escape and also just let those thoughts out, let those feelings out, without having to, receive backlash from anyone.
100%.
Not necessarily like they're attacking you for saying it, but they just want you to be strong. They feel like showing emotion is a sign of a weakness. So.
And it's funny you say that, because I kind of relate to that in the sense of I dealt with a lot of growing up and being a youth. I dealt with a lot of feeling like you have to bottle your emotions in, especially because sometimes it doesn't get conceived the same way you wanted to portray it.
Correct.
And so you get into those situations a lot. And like you said, with your parents or older adults and stuff. And so me being, I didn't go into doing writing and stuff like that. Obviously, maybe I should have, because it definitely would have been a great outlet. But it's kind of interesting to hear how you try to transcend your emotions into transition and show it in a way. So definitely 100%. So what are the first things you think about when you're first going into writing a new poem? What do you start with?
On a normal day, so I like to call my writing a curse, because it seems every time I want to write, I can't write. Every time I decide, all right, today's the day I'm gonna get like 5 poems out, and I sit down, nothing, not one word. So I don't know. I react. My writing needs a stimulant, right? My writing is based off just things around me that stimulate my mind. It could be as simple as me just thinking about something, and then boom, a poem. Or, something I listen to, music, if I'm watching something on TV, or something more drastic, like something bad happens around me, or something happy happens around me. My writing is just based off just receiving those stimulants, and just, it's like, it just connects. I'm just ready to go. Like, I need to get this out of my mind now. So, it's just, whatever pops up that day, and it works.
It works. You got a book now, you feel me? You got a book now and everything. So, going more into the book, it's your first piece of work that you created. What was your main, what was your main point that you wanted to come across with this poetry book?
So, going off the name of the book itself, not the album, the interlude. This book is strictly about me, right? This book details the first 21 years of my life. Not the album, the interlude. It's based off the fact that, when you listen to an interlude, it's a moment. It's a piece. It's like a pause in the entire album, right? Usually an interlude comes in halfway through. You listen to the few songs beforehand, and an interlude drops in. It's like, all right, take this break. Sometimes the interludes don't have words. It's just the melody, right? Yep. It's like, here, take this break. Think about everything you just heard. This book is showing the first 21 years of my life. But it's not the album. It's not the full piece. It's not complete.
It's a look back at what you just.
I want to think about what has happened, and the album is gonna be the future. What I'm getting into, what how I've changed from the interlude into the album. There is a lot of, for anyone who decides to read this one day,
which you will.
It's a lot of dark themes in this because I was going through a lot these first 21 years of my life. Even in 2018, that was like the down year of my life. That was the year that I was really going through it. Just dealing with depression, anxiety, and all sorts. There was moments I no longer wanted to be here. I was able to shift out of that and rise above those thoughts and decide, I'm here for a reason. Let me do something about it, right?
Yep.
So the point of this book is to really help anyone who's been through that or is going through that, right? I want them to read it, understand they're not alone, understand that there is a way to get out of it, and just be able to heal by these words I'm saying in this book. It's meant to heal the person that's reading. It's meant to make them feel better. It's meant to show them like, hey, you're going to feel this now, but you won't have to feel this tomorrow or next week or however long it takes. There's no timestamp on how long it takes to get better, but you will. 100%. Things do get better.
Yep.
And there's two sides to a coin.
So. And I think that's big because, especially with people with our generation and our youth, I think, it's something my mom and dad always say that, our generation didn't get the chance to really be children. By that, obviously there was a lot of major events that's happened in history that young youth had to go through.
Right.
But in terms of the exposure that we've been exposed to, so we begin to see different varieties of real life very early. And our mental capacity sometimes aren't prepared to handle a lot of that.
True.
You know what I mean? And so it's big because a lot of kids that you are going through exactly what you've been through, you know what I mean? Or going into what you've been through. And so, I feel like this would be a great way to give them inspiration, not only in the ways that you made it out, but also in the way to voice their opinion, their frustration, their emotion too.
That's another big goal I have. I just want people to understand they can speak about this. It's not taboo. I know it's a dark topic. I know it's hard to really look someone in the face and be like, I don't want to be here anymore. But that's things that need to be discussed because that's how you get better. Mental health is a serious problem. It's a real thing. So it's like, I want people to be able to read this, like, all right, this person is putting this out on a wide scale. Maybe I can just have that conversation with one person to let someone know this is what I'm going through.
Definitely.
It doesn't have to be a wide scale like I do it, but to just speak on it, it's important. You don't want to keep internalizing something like that.
100%. That's a whole bunch of great stuff, bro. I really do appreciate everything that you've told us about, your book and your path that you've taken, your poetry. What I wanted to ask if you were up to the task, is definitely, I think the crowd or the audience would definitely love to hear a sample of some of your work. So if you would want to just read a quick poem out of that, you know what I mean? Give us what we're working with in that, great book of yours.
I'll do my best. One thing that I'm trying to get better at is being able to actually speak what I write. All right. I'm going to go with this one. It's called My Life on a Paper. And in parentheses, it says poetry sucks. I have a group of poems that I still continue to write with that title of Poetry Sucks because, not to go too in depth with it, because, if you read it, you'll understand. Poetry, as great as it is to let those things out, you start to realize, I'm just writing all these things, but is anyone really listening? Do people really care? Or do they just want to sit there, snap their fingers when you say, or like, congratulations, you wrote this, but I still have to put my life in those words. I'm the one who's writing everything that I've been through in those words. So it's like I'm rehearsing myself, bringing up those thoughts to basically spread my art and help other people. So that's where that idea of poetry sucks comes from for me. All right, so my life on a paper. How shameful it is knowing I can sum up my life on such a thin object. All the experiences, all the trauma, the drama, the years, compiled on a piece of paper, made to sound all fancy and poetic, just to hear some praise. The only time they care about my life story is when they don't have to hear me say it. My life is a small, unimportant speck in the universe, wiped away if I simply rip this paper in half. What a life. Yeah.
I know you just said all the stats, but bro, you feel me?
That pretty much explains what I just said too.
That was
like
some fire. That was some fire right there.
if I was to take this one day and burn it, that's my life in this, wiped away in seconds. You know, that's what poetry is.
That's 100%. That's a fact. But not only that, but it's also it's your story at the end of the day. You know, to find some positivity. You know what I mean? Like no matter how easy it is to destroy it, you know, at the end of the day, it's generally yours, and you control and create what it is in your hand. You know. I feel like that's an amazing thing. Well, you know, y'all heard the fire, man. Y'all gotta tap in. Definitely go and get that book. You can find it on Amazon. You know what I mean? Go tap in. Okheem Schneider, not the album, the interlude. You know, but since this is a DB podcast and we do talk about sports every episode that we do get here, none of y'all would know this, but my boy over here is an avid Steelers fan. You know, he's flexing his muscles right now, but the Steelers, what we're about to talk about right now is about the Steelers taking the L last week. You know, you guys were undefeated going into that game. It was supposed to be a game that you guys walked in, came out with as a dub, you know. Obviously, everything didn't go as planned. My question to you is, how much do you think this is affected? Not only because of the fact that they lost, but we also saw the week before them kind of have, you know, problems come up, you know, here and there. You know, it was a point where it's kind of just seemed like this Steel Curry that's been on the tear for the past 10 weeks, starting to have some holes. So, what do you think?
Well, you know, by the way, Steelers best team in the league. Anyways,
that's cat.
You know, I'm not even. The way I see it, it happens to us every year. You know, we have the solid season, and as it inches closer to playoffs, we start to have some issues, or even when we're in playoffs, injury, the communication is off, the team is just not working well together. I don't know. This season, I'm not worried. Okay. I feel like, you know, it happens. Everyone has that game where it's just like, whatever, we took the L, especially to a team, like, we lost to a trash team. Yeah. There's no going around it. But the way I see it, we only got one team to beat.
And that's what my next question was going to be, because you said you're not worried at all. I'm guessing you're going to say the Kansas City Chiefs.
Absolutely.
How do you plan on stopping that? Like, and I'm being real just because, you know, guaranteed that there's no attack against the Steelers, because they still, with the one loss, look pretty tough, you know. But there's a lot of attention that's going to that Kansas City Chiefs. Me personally, I think they're the Golden State Warriors of the NFL.
Right now, absolutely.
They have too many weapons on that team. Yeah. Too much offensive power. They have good key players on the defense that can make plays. And at the end of the day, you got Patrick Mahomes, who's looking to be. He's looking like he's the best quarterback. He's definitely the best quarterback in the league right now.
Absolutely.
And he's looking like he's trying to be the best ever.
Hey, man, honestly, I mean...
With Andy Reid's another one that's been overlooked a lot.
What has been winning us these games hasn't been the offense. Our defense has been tearing through the NFL this whole season. But can we stop Mahomes? No. No one can. You really can't stop Mahomes, right?
Tyreek Hill.
It's hard to stop, but we just got to cover everybody else. And honestly...
Travis Kelce.
Hey... At this point on that game,
Le'Veon Bell,
I'm going to have to, you know, put the chalk on my face, wear the colors, and throw up a prayer, because it sucks to say it's not an easy team to beat.
Not at all.
But I feel like that game right there is practically the bowl. There's no one on the other side that's really... I'm not worried
that's a big statement, too.
I'm not worried about anyone on the other side. If we get to the Super Bowl, that's a ring.
Too. You think so?
That's a ring.
So y'all think y'all being...
That's a ring.
I can't even really think of a team coming out the NFC East.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making.
I mean, but you can never put teams like that. You could never put teams like the Seahawks out. You know what I mean? You can never put a Russell Wilson. A Seahawks versus Steelers Super Bowl. I would not be.
Russell, he's been cracking lately under pressure. So I mean, can we really put that faith in him, saying, all right, he gets to the bowl, he's gonna do what he needs to do? And sometimes not even him. I mean, look at the coordinators, man. Like. I don't think they work with Russell as much as he...
They should, but that's a fact. That's a fact. But at the end of the day, too, he do got two huge players in Tyler Lockett and DJ Metcalf. And they just got back Josh Gordon, which we don't know what's going to happen with that. Yeah. You know, my son Josh, loving that, yeah. But, you know, I think that I don't know, man. I like the Steelers and how they look, but it's just like, I personally think the NFL in general right now is just a really, really tough league. You know, you have the Chiefs that look like a kingdom right now, you know, looking to I think they're a favorite to win the Super Bowl again, no doubt.
I mean, that's
You
not
know
a
what I mean?
out there statement.
But then the AFC is tough, man. You got the Colts looking pretty solid. I'm not saying they'll be able to match up with the Steelers, definitely. You know,
I mean, there's some sleeper teams too, though. Like the Rams. Rams are doing great.
You know, I just don't know how I feel about Jared Goff yet. I know he's a solid quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback. He definitely leads the team to games and wins. But when it comes to going down the stretch and really taking a team to the Super Bowl, I don't see that in him yet. You know, I still kind of see the wide-eyed young boy.
Yeah. I mean, but hey, the season's going great. And I mean, one thing with football,
you never know.
It's one game.
Literally
That's what
one game.
really kills it in the playoffs. There's no best out of anything like baseball, basketball. It's all on this one game. So the best quarterback in the world could have an off day, and that could just ruin it. So
I mean, the under 500 Seahawks team beat the Saints in a wild card game. You know, so Marshawn Lynch,
anything can really happen.
Anything can happen, man. Anything can happen. Well, y'all heard it here, man. He thinks they still looking good for the ring.
Steelers for the bowl.
Y'all already know that Pat Mahomes is not saying the same thing, man. But Okheem, definitely a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming out. Appreciate you showing your work and giving us some of your work. Like I said,
second book is in the works. So
you heard it. So
read up on this one. The second one is on its way.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that one. This is only about maybe 45 pages. The second one is gonna be much larger. I'm aiming for 80 to 100 pages, and that one I won't give too much details, but that one is gonna have a much bigger effect than this did because now I'm touching on topics, all types of topics. I'm going from politics, police brutality, depression, love, all of that. So
I got some of that. I read one of those, bro.
Look out!
Look out for it. It's coming. Yo, thank you guys for coming out. Definitely got some more in store for you. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Definitely got a lot coming for y'all. Peace.